There's a story over the weekend that came out of the New York Times, and I was hoping that would help explain this. This is then candidate Trump becoming President-elect Trump back in the 2016 election. That is when he found out that he is going to become the 45th president of the United States. This is his reaction right here. Doesn't really seem very enthused. Doesn't really seem super jazzed about it. I don't think it's like a weird partisan thing to say. He doesn't really look that happy. You look at Pence there. Pence looks pretty jazzed. Ivanka looks like she's gonna cry. Don Jr. Don Jr. looks like he just became president. He is super psyched up. But when you look at Donald there, he doesn't seem super happy about it. And there's video of this too. Let's check this out. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, see, he just doesn't seem very jazzed. He doesn't seem super excited about it. He seems like, I don't know. He doesn't seem that excited. And it's not just him. You look around for the rest of the family. Melania reportedly was in tears on election night. That's according to according to an article from Axios. And yeah, you could see her and Barron Trump to stage right, and she doesn't look super jazzed there. Does not seem very excited at all. I mean, your husband just became the most powerful person in the world, and you look like you cannot wait to get the hell out of there. And so, after this, you kind of wonder why, right? I mean, there's a lot of speculation that he didn't actually think he was going to become president. And looking at those reactions, that seems pretty reasonable. And from all this reporting we've heard inside the campaign, it didn't seem like he was going to become president. And I totally believe. I mean, you look at all the polls, everything before that, it wasn't looking so good for him. And I think stuff like this is exactly why he was worried about becoming the 45th president of the United States. A New York Times article has come out over the weekend. Oops. Sorry about that. A New York Times article came out over the weekend alleging that Donald Trump paid $750 in 2016 in his for taxes, and he paid $750 in 2017 again for his tax bill. Now, to go back to that original look, I think Trump might have had that reaction to becoming president because he thought, oh shit. So, here's the thing. He could talk about all the horrible things Clinton did, the Benghazi scandal, the email scandal, and some of those things weren't great. A lot of them were overblown, but in general, he could throw a lot of hate towards Hillary, and that was all fine until he knew people were going to start looking into his finances and what he's done wrong. And I'm sure he realized in that moment, oh shit, this could be a big problem for me. This could be a huge problem for me. Because at the same time he was apparently not paying federal taxes, even though he could afford to pay Stormy Daniels $130,000 to stay quiet about a sex scandal, he apparently didn't pay any tax. And not only that, according to this article, Donald Trump has not paid any federal income tax in 10 of the last 15 years. For comparison, Kamala Harris has paid, she paid $516,000 in 2017, and Joe Biden paid $3.7 million in 2017. Reportedly, it was a little bit high then because of a book that he came out with around then. And so the New York Times report also revealed Trump's been losing a lot of money. This kind of jives with other reporting that's out there. CNN did an article where they looked at Trump's finances and looked at what he reportedly lost in 2018. Now, according to them, he lost 435, or excuse me, he earned $435 million in 2018. So nearly $500 million. But somehow he reported a loss of $47 million. And that, that matches up with what's being reported in CNN. And this has reportedly dropped him 77 rankings on the world's the richest person in the richest people in America list. Excuse me. And so that brings up a couple of different questions, right? And that was all this money that he lost before. That was reported at the end of 2019. This is before the pandemic hit, and would have messed up anything with the real estate and hotel businesses. And the headline here is obviously very, very interesting, right? I mean, $750 in taxes. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's more than a lot of people pay in federal income tax. It's more than I pay in federal income tax. But I think the interesting thing here really could be what the article says later. It wasn't the headline, it's within the article. And the interesting thing to me is that if this is true, and Trump has not paid any income tax, and has reported a loss of 10 out of the last 15 years, is Donald Trump about to go broke? Is President Trump about to declare bankruptcy again? Now, reportedly, he is $421 million in debt right now. And he could also owe the IRS $100 million after getting a refund of $72 million in 2010. Now, Trump obviously has some great, assets. He has Mar-a-Lago. He has the tower in New York. He's got a lot of different assets, and that's been allowed him to borrow a lot of money because he could borrow on those assets. And so he's been able to kind of skate through for a long time without maybe having a whole lot of income and not really making a ton of money. And this has a couple problems. I mean, how is he a great businessman if he hasn't made money in 10 of the last 15 years? And how does he seem so successful if he hasn't made money in 10 of the last 15 years? But actually, Melania Trump summed this up pretty good herself.
I remember once my father and I were walking down Fifth Avenue, and there was a homeless person sitting right outside of Trump Tower. And I think I was probably maybe 9, 10, something like this. It was around the same time as the divorce. And I remember my father pointing to him and saying, that guy has $8 billion more than me, because he was in such extreme debt at that point, And me thinking, what are you talking about? He was sitting outside of Trump Tower, and I'm looking and I'm going, and I didn't understand.
I'm guessing she understands now. Yeah, Trump can borrow a lot of money because he has a lot of collateral to put up. That works great until someone wants that money. And so, like I said, Trump could be on the hook for, around $400 million or so now. And there's two ways to look at the tax part of this, right? There's two options there. Either Donald Trump is lying to the IRS. He's either telling them that he didn't make any money when he actually did make a lot of money and is in the green. Could be true. Or he's not making any money at all. Both of them are pretty bad options for Trump. According to the New York Times, in their article, if he was worth $2.5 billion, like he said, he'd be part of the 0.1% of Americans, right? Now, the average tax bill for those 0.1% of Americans would be $25 million a year, which is kind of criminal that it would be so low. So the idea that he's only paying $750 2 years in a row, he's either lying or he just is not nearly as rich as he claims to be. So, this comes as the Trump brand itself is taking a big hit, right? And what I don't mean is just, Trump as a candidate That's obviously he's having some problems there. But what I'm talking about is the Trump brand, right? Now, the Trump brand, and for a long time, all the Trump properties, all that stuff, they've been associated with a lot of money, a lot of ritz, a lot of glamour, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, now if you mention Trump to almost anyone on the face of the earth, it's not associated with a royalty brand at all. It's associated with a crazy guy in the White House, unless you are, 30 or 40% of Americans. And so I can only imagine how much he's very popular now with his supporters, but what if he loses the election, right? What if people stop going to all those Trump properties just to, support the president, and when it's not a big political thing, and he has to go back to relying on people going there because they think it's, it's just for the brand. When's that going to dry up? Because the brand is not associated wealth anymore. It's not, it's associated with chaos. And I think people are going to try to distance themselves as much as possible from Trump. And so Trump might be facing some problems if he doesn't win the 2020 election. Now, for Trump's part, he said this is, of course, fake news. He said, it's all fake. And that was his first defense. He said it was fake. And they said, I can't release my tax returns because he's under an audit. He's been saying that for years. And now his new line of defense is saying that he was entitled to take advantage of various tax loopholes and insisting he was mired in very little debt. Well, according to everyone else, you are in a lot of debt. And the thing is, if you're the president of the United States and you're talking about putting America first, then why would you try to cheat them out of a ton of money, right? I mean, I don't like paying taxes that much. No one really likes paying taxes, but I also like driving on roads and going to airports. I like getting the mail. I like knowing that if something happens to me, I can call the police. I also like knowing that if I'm sick, or I can go to the hospital. And, I have nephews and stuff, and I myself went to public education, and it's nice knowing that our kids are being educated. It's also nice knowing I have a lot of family in the military that has since retired from the military, and it's nice knowing that they're keeping our country safe. And as much as taxes suck, all those taxes go, to make sure that we're all okay as a country. It's our way of buying into America. And apparently, Donald Trump feels he's entitled to not do that. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for watching Citizen Pete. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, click that little subscribe button, maybe the like button, and hey, maybe just leave a comment. I want to know what you're thinking. What do you think about all the politics, the news, and all the stuff that's going on in our country?